You know, at some point, I wonder when the mainstream media is going to realize that there is a revolution going on in this country. There is a revolution. And it's not dissimilar to what that painting is right there. The reporters and the producers on television and the mainstream media, they think the biggest revolt in the last year was a bunch of heavily pierced young adults camping out in urban parks. 6 of them got together and held up a sign. Big news. Lots of coverage, most of it inaccurate coverage. But in the rest of the country, and believe me, I know, they didn't really care. Why? Because the rest of the country was working on a different kind of revolution, a different kind of movement. You can call it the Tea Party, you call it whatever you want, the revolt of the true conservatives. I call it the Third Great Awakening. But whatever you want to call it, it started in 2009, and it has been ringing up victories, large and small. We won state houses in Virginia and New Jersey. We won the Senate race in Massachusetts, Ted Kennedy's seat. We won control of the House of Representatives. We won several primary elections against the old guard. And this past week, yet another win. A firm victory for Ted Cruz, the Tea Party candidate in the U.S. Senate in Texas. He was opposed by the party machinery, the big bosses of the GOP, yeah. And you know what? We beat them. Just like we beat them in Indiana. Over and over and over again. Beat them in Georgia. They tried to jam a sales tax in Georgia down the throats of the people of Georgia to pay for all the new roads that are going to make us so successful. Voters hated the idea. They voted it down by a huge margin. Now let's get this one straight. The man who sits behind this desk in the real Oval Office now thinks that new roads make us successful. But the state of Georgia voted not to tax themselves to pay for no more new roads. So that means one of two things. Either the voters of the state of Georgia don't want to be wealthy, or the guy who sits in this chair doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. That's not what makes America successful. Now, the media played these items. Another Tea Party victory in Texas, a tax rebellion in Georgia, like they were all unexpected. Whoa, who saw that one coming? But anybody who is watching, really watching, anybody who's paying attention, none of these things were surprising. These events are part of a pattern, part of a trend, part of a revolution, and you're winning. I just wish we had a president who actually walked in this room, sat behind this desk, answered this phone, and said, "Prime Minister of Turkey, why am I talking to you?" I wish we had a president who sat behind this desk, who understood the Constitution, who protected the Constitution, who fought for the ideals and the ideas of the Constitution. But we don't. And I'm not sure when the last time was that we really had one, probably Ronald Reagan. I'm not sure we're ever going to get anybody who passes that test 100% of the time, but we got to do better than we are. We're probably never going to have a Tea Party president, but then again, people didn't think we'd ever have a progressive president either for a while. We're forcing change. That's what we're doing. We're making things happen. Slowly, the Tea Party is rolling back the worst habits of American politics, the worst ideas of a punditocracy. We're insisting on the kinds of things that Washington hasn't treated seriously on many, many, many fronts for many, many, many decades. Limited government and individual liberty. The rights of individuals guaranteed by the Constitution. The limits to power by the state guaranteed by the Constitution. Rights and limits. You hear an awful lot about rights, but you really never hear about limits. That's what's changing. The Tea Party is bringing back limits to government. You cannot raise taxes to pay for roads that you should have already built with the tax funds you already collected. You can't pass laws and then decide, we're going to enforce that one, but not this one. Can't do that. You can't pretend the government doesn't need to have a balanced budget year after deficit-producing year. You can't. You can't print money forever without destroying the wealth of a nation. But no revolution that was ever successful in human history has ever succeeded by taking things away, by saying no all the time. You don't inspire people by telling them, no, no, not that. You inspire people by telling them a great idea, that we're going to create something new. We have to bring something to the table. And here's the thing. We are. We do. We are a movement that has something big to bring to the table. We show it with our own example every day. We are creating a new vision for America, a vision that places the individual at the center of our country, at the heart. The individual has work to do, and not to be a vassal of the state, not a recipient of state aid from cradle to grave, not somebody whose success in life is made for them by the powers that be. No. Someone who charts their own course, makes their own way, somebody who earns their own living, somebody who supports their own family and children, somebody who feeds the hungry and heals the sick, embraces the lonely and brokenhearted, and builds. That's our revolution. Anybody who joined me last week at Cowboy Stadium heard this message. And you know, that's what I believe. We have to serve. We have to. We have to take back the work of our hearts. We can't outsource love to the government. We have to bring back our communities to the work that the government is trying to do in Washington. We're supposed to do it. Look, there have been good presidents and bad presidents, and I think all of them, even Woodrow Wilson, has had good intentions. They just think that they can do the work better than we can. They just think that they can make better investment decisions than investors, better hiring decisions than small business owners, better medical decisions than doctors, better loan decisions than bankers. I get it. They think they're really smart. So why shouldn't they think they care more about our communities than we do? But it is up to us as individuals and as a group to show them that they don't. It's up to us to show them they can't. It's up to us to show them they won't. And we're on our way. We keep sending them messages hoping that they'll see it and change their ways. But that's all right. We'll just keep sending them congressmen and senators committed to restoring the state to its proper role, limited role. We'll keep voting down their tax increases. We'll keep doing it. But our revolution is not just a political one. It's an economic one. It's a cultural one. We can't change the future. We have to restore the past first. When you lose the culture, all the political wins are just temporary. When you lose the culture, you lose your own kids, and we've all seen it. It's not enough to restore Washington. We have to restore honor, courage, and love. And when we do those three things, maybe, I doubt it, but maybe the mainstream media will finally realize what's happening. Of course, I'm betting, I guess, that they'll never get the memo, but that's okay. I'm not watching them anyway. You're not either. Thanks for watching GBTV. May God bless. And may God bless the Republic.